Hi, welcome to this lecture. In this lecture, we are going to extend our discussion on how to form a data lake formation. Now, before we do that, we'll again discuss the data lifecycle in AWS data lake. As we mentioned earlier in the previous lecture, that how we are going to set up our storage. So, in order to set up a channel from which the data to be stored, you need to set up a VPC. Then you have to define the availability zone. You have to put the security policies. You have to understand that how your key management system is going to work, which kind of what type of encryption you are going to follow, how the archival mechanism is going to go. And once it is done, you can move your data. So you can move your data in multiple ways. You can either directly move it from your AWS data sources, or maybe if you have a data from your on-premise data lake, or maybe on-premise data center, you can simply use the AWS Direct Connect. You can use the AWS Storage Gateway in order to move your data. You can you can also move your data which are being generated by multiple system logs, multiple systems in the form of logs, or any other data, maybe RDBMS data. So all those things you can move into your AWS S3 in raw format, and it will support all types of format like Parquet, Avro, CSV, so on and so forth. So not only that, it also helps you in establishing an archival policy when your data is not required, and or maybe when your data gets consumed and you do not need it any further. So that kind of things you can also do. Not only that, you can go ahead and you can clean your data, you can prepare your data, and you can catalog your data, which is nothing but the ETL part of your data life cycle. So once you have a raw data in place in your data lake formation, you can definitely make use of tools like Amazon Glue in order to catalog the data, in order to rationalize the data. And once it is done, you can actually feed it to your analytics tools. So of course, all these things can be done. You can make the data available for analytics, and the best part is you do not have to move your data from one bucket to another bucket. You can keep your data at the same bucket, and you can expose multiple tools onto these data sets, and they can make use of this data and can give you desired results and as per their applicability. So not only it can be used for analytics, but a machine language learning tool can also be applied on these set of data. Now we'll just have a look at how the data lake formation works. So as I mentioned earlier, that you can store your database, you can store your data in your Amazon S3 relational DB instances or NoSQL instances. Now this could be, apart from S3, the relational DB instances could be your on-premise data center database instances, or it could be a cloud-based database instances for relational or NoSQL database. Maybe you can have multiple source of logs, or maybe an IoT device which is sending you logs, so you can receive all those logs, feed into your S3 bucket, and once you put everything in the AWS lake formation, you define the data sets, you do the ETL, and you do the data cataloging using Glue and other services. You can also put your security setting by using key management system IAM, and you can make sure that your data is encrypted in the REST form as well as while it is in transit. And definitely with the lot many tools available for access control, you can make sure that how your data can be accessed. So one thing which you may want to consider at this point of time here is that it is a very good opportunity to segregate your data and make sure that your data is accessible only to those parties which are intended to use it. So in very secure environments like in banking and telecom, you must have heard about requirement called multi-tenancy, wherein you have a platform which is capable of providing a multi-tenant environment wherein one tenant is completely isolated and in one tenant's data is inaccessible by other tenants. So that kind of multi-tenancy can be very well achieved in AWS lake formation, and it can be perform in a very easy manner. You can make use of CloudFormation templates. You can also make use of Terraform templates. So we can write all those scripts, and you can bring up and bring down your infrastructure as in when you want. If you want to make changes in your infrastructure, that is also possible without altering any existing system configurations. Or let's say if you want to alter a system configuration, that can also be done without making any issues, without creating any issues of your existing infrastructure. So with the invent of lake formation, you have all these features combined together, and you do not have to do it in a manual way, like you have to start gathering all the components together. So once you launch the data lake formation, you just have to provide some basic information and some basic configuration, and it does everything for you. All the underlying resources, which is nothing but the various services that we have discussed so far, like IAM, KMS, and so on and so forth. So all those things work seamlessly with each other together, and all you need to do is to take care of your data and make sure your data is properly connected with the analytic tools. So now once you have a cleansed data and isolated data, you can actually point all your tools, Amazon tools, or maybe a tool which you have procured from any third party. You can very well point that entire tooling tool fleet to your Amazon S3 storage, where you have kept your data, which is which could be secluded from one party to another party. So that way it is very much feasible, and it's very much cost efficient as well, because when, let's say for an example, you want to run a MapReduce job on a set of data which is stored in data lake. Now what would happen, just assume you just have to bring up your EMR cluster for the time you are running the job, and after that you can either shut down your cluster or you can terminate, depending upon your needs. Same thing for Amazon Redshift. You already know that your data is lying here. You can load that data in your Amazon Redshift. It will use the MPP technology, and then it will start giving you all the ETL results. Once the results are available to you, you can store that in your another S3 bucket, and you can bring down the Amazon Redshift. So all these things you can use it as in when you want, for the time you want, and you can optimize your cost. So these things are really very handy when it comes to making most of your resources, making most of your funds. And definitely with the auto scaling and with the services like AWS lake formation, you get to save a lot of time, you get to save a lot of effort when it comes to bringing up the resources, performing the task, and getting the results. So as per your requirement, you can always go ahead and you can include the resources, you can bring down some of the resources, and it becomes really flexible for you to manage your infrastructure and manage your cost. So yes, hopefully this lecture gave you certain insight about how the lake formation will work. So far, as I mentioned in my previous video, that the lake formation is still in the preview version, and you have to request to get access to lake formation. For now, it is only available in North Virginia region, and I have not seen so far in any other region, but maybe while we are speaking, maybe there may be certain reasons where this particular service is available for preview, but I'm pretty sure that once this service gets launched, it would be really easy task for all the solution architects, all the big data architects to configure their data lakes and make most of it. Hopefully this lecture was useful for you, and we'll see you in the next lecture. Thanks for watching.